What's up everybody, Smooth Cosplayer here, your favorite salsa dancing cosplayer. I want to take some time out to share with you guys my first experience with internet cosplay fame and also my first experience with internet cosplay hate. They happen to both be the same situation, ironically. So this happened late summer 2015. If you guys recall my last video, I explained about how with my Django Fett mashup, how I made some improvements between the first time that I wore it, which was DragonCon 2014, and made improvements for DragonCon 2015, which hadn't come up yet, but you know, I already had it ready. What happened every year for DragonCon, there's a DragonCon cosplay group on Facebook, and pretty much everybody a part of that group will, you know, post their progress pictures on the new cosplays, before and after shots on their old cosplays that they've made improvements on. So I jumped in on it. You know, I showed a picture. I did a side-by-side picture of what it looked like last year and what it currently looked like getting ready for this year. So that, and also in the caption, I explained why I made those adjustments, why I made those improvements, things like that. So that post blew up. I got about 200-300 something likes on it. I'm like, all right, cool, that works. I've never had that blow up like that. But anyway, so I was already happy with that. But then a week or two later, DragonCon still hadn't come up yet, but a couple of friends of mine start texting me and messaging me saying, "Hey man, you're on Reddit." I'm like, "What? Word?" Now I had barely heard of Reddit at that time. I didn't. From my coworkers and friends who are also geeks, they were on Reddit a lot, but I had never gone on there, but I knew it was a thing. So I go on Reddit and I find out that I'm actually the top post on Reddit at that moment. And skipping forward a little bit, I actually ended up being the top post on Reddit for like most of that day. So I more or less broke the internet that day. What had happened was someone took that picture from the DragonCon cosplayers group on Facebook. Now mind you, they didn't take the caption where I explained the difference, why there was a difference between the two photos. So they just took the photo and posted it on Imgur. And a lot of times, you know, things that end up on Imgur will also end up on Reddit. So it blew up in both places. So like I said, you know, it was the top post on Reddit for like the majority of a day. So that was great. That was, I was like, wow, okay. I'm not arguing with that. That's cool. Now, along with that, a lesson that I learned and a lesson I want to give you guys, if you end up on Reddit or any other site like that, do not look at the comments. If you value your sanity, if you value your self-esteem, don't touch the comments. Just leave them alone. Just be happy that you got 15 minutes of internet fame and move on. Now, fortunately, there was a lot of good comments. The good ones far outweighed the bad. And because I mean, it got liked enough to where it got to the top post or whatever. So all the likes, all the good comments far outweighed the bad, but there were some bad. Now, fortunately, none of these were particularly nasty or disrespectful. They were more so, excuse me, early morning, haven't eaten yet. They were more so annoying and what the F than they were disrespectful and mean. But it just let me know exactly how nitpicky, how persnickety, how petty people can be on the internet. So the one that stood out to me the most was that a lot of people had accused me of just taking a Mandalorian helmet and slapping it on a random costume and calling it something Fett. One in particular, this guy said, "Oh, looks like all he did was take a Boba Fett helmet and put it on a random costume and call it something Fett. I guess anybody can make a mashup like that nowadays." First of all, the guy, he said Boba Fett, right? So I'm not mad at you for not knowing that there's both Django Fett and Boba Fett, but you can't criticize my Star Wars costume as if you're an expert on it and you don't know the difference between the two. You can't, you're not gonna, that's what we're not gonna do, okay? Second of all, he misspelled Boba, okay? He spelled it B-O-B-B-A, which would spell Boba Fett, okay? Now, I am a bit of a grammar I've stopped saying grammar Nazi. I'm a bit of a stickler for grammar. But I tend to lay off that, you know, because nobody likes that person. Nobody likes that person that, you know, constantly corrects people's grammar. So I behave with that normally. But if you're being an idiot, if you're being ridiculous, especially this is not the case here, but especially if you're doing something like being racist, sexist, any phobic, anything like that, then I'm gonna let you have it. You don't get to be an idiot and have bad grammar. You got to pick one, okay? So I'm like, dude, you can't come for me like that and you ain't spelling boba correctly. Like, that's no. Now, I didn't reply because what I decided to do as I started seeing these negative comments, I decided that, you know what, this isn't on my page, this isn't on my account. I'm just not gonna respond. And fortunately, people responded for me. Like, there was so many people who, anytime there was a negative comment like that, other people on that site came and corrected them. Like, my faith in internet humanity was both shattered and restored all in the same moment. But so yeah, somebody else came across and said, dude, you do realize there's a Django Fett too, and that this is a play on words with both the Djangos, right? And you know, every time that somebody made that comment about, oh, all he did was put a helmet on something, somebody else came and made that correction, and the person who made the original comment backed down. So I was like, all right, cool. The internet got my back, y'all. They got my back. I appreciate that. Now these other comments end up being really, really nitpicky. Like, there was a side-by-side photo. I used a different pair of black shoes the second time than I did the first time. Somebody's like, is that the same person? He has a different pair of shoes. Really? All this awesomeness in the picture and you're gonna focus on the shoes and the fact that they're different and you can't tell they're the same person? Same thing with my hands. Somebody actually looked at my hands in the picture and said, oh, the guy on the left, his hands are a different shade of brown than on the right. Then is this the same person? Have you ever heard of different lighting, man? Have you ever, again, just how nitpicky people can be on the internet. Now I had the original person who posted it actually took the caption as well with it. You know, a lot of this wouldn't have even been a problem, but yeah, the other thing people were saying was that I skipped leg day. Okay, so back then I might have been about 30, 40 pounds lighter than I am now, but I'm also a lot more muscular now than back then. But I've never had big legs. My legs have always been skinny, which is why I rarely wear shorts, even when it's hot outside. I just have skinny legs, okay? But skip leg day, that's something you say to someone who has extremely disproportionate, you know, body ratio, like someone who looks like Strong Guy from X Factor or Johnny Bravo. You know, someone who's super swole and buff up top, but really skinny down to the legs, which I'm neither, okay? I'm not, while my legs are skinny, my upper body is not super swole, or at least not to the point where it's disproportionate from my legs, okay? So that leg day comment, like, really dude, you're reaching there, you're reaching. And the most ridiculous comment that I got on that was, so at the time when I took that second picture, that updated picture, my wife and I were renting an apartment. I'm sorry, not renting an apartment, renting a house. And the picture was taken in the den of that house. Now the den was a converted carport garage. So, you know, they enclosed off the front and the sides, put carpet in there, all that good stuff. Now in the back of that was the washroom. Now the washroom, because it used to be a garage, you know, it's 2 steps up into the washroom. So I'm standing in front of that, taking that picture, and someone points it out and says, why is his closet 2 feet above the floor? Again, I mean, not that I'm upset about, you know, the closet itself, but again, this is a picture about a cosplay, a person in a cosplay, and you're focusing on this inconsequential, this insignificant part. You're focusing on that. I'm like, really? Again, not that offended me, not that I felt like that was a diss to my cosplay, but more like, why are you focusing on all these other things? Like this just, again, showed me how nitpicky people can be on the internet. But yeah, that's my first taste of internet fame and internet hate. hate might be extreme, because there was nothing super negative about all of that. There was nothing that was like a personal attack on my character or anything like that. But it was just, again, it just really showed me just how the internet is. So again, listen to all of y'all. If you end up on Reddit, if you end up on anything super famous or any other, if somebody else has shared your stuff and it blows up, just take appreciation for that, is the fact that it's blown up. Just do yourself a favor, don't look at the comments, you'll regret it. You know, it'll save you some time, it'll save you high blood pressure, it'll save you sanity, all that good stuff. Anyway, that's it for me. Y'all have a good night, y'all have a good time at whatever con you're going to next. Good luck on your cosplay builds. Hit that subscribe button for me, and I'll see y'all at the next video. Peace.
Let's go.